So, um, whenever I have like scary stories, some of them are improvised, some of them aren't. Some of them are actually like legit. Um, some of them are a little bit in between. The one on the podcast on Mom, whenever it gets uploaded, that one's the in between. Some of it was real, some of it wasn't. But part of it was a really, really, really creepy ass dream, and part of it was, like just to add into it. And I'll be getting into the entire thing, so I was keeping it brief for the podcast episode. But I'm going to be going in depth on what happened. So we had just moved into this house where I actually reopened a lot. It's where I saw Amtrak 156 and a couple other interesting trains. Um, we lived across the field from railroad tracks. That's the house I'm talking about. Um, but at the time, I had a very, very big imagination, so I thought that was just what most of it was. But now that I think about it, I'm like, well, that shit felt really fucking real. And like, I don't know 100% that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't just my imagination, but who knows? But anyway, this is my story time about my creepy house experience. And actually, at the end of this, I'll be telling you guys about some of the stuff that's been happening at the house I'm at right now. Actually, as recent as today, because I nearly shit myself this morning while sitting on my couch in my bedroom. So yeah, um, yeah, it was horrifying. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? So I should preface this by saying my beliefs in the paranormal and afterlife could have fed into this ideology of my house being haunted back then, and I guess today. Um, so we lived there twice. The first time we lived there, there wasn't really much going on, and then there was then when we moved, there really wasn't much going on, and I think around that time we moved to Cedar Park, and then we moved back, and I was in fourth or fifth grade. I think fifth grade. Well, I want to say it was fifth grade, somewhere like that. And we lived there for a bit. And on our way home one day, there was a Memorial Day flood. It was the worst flood that had been in this area in a long, long time. And there was water literally everywhere. Our TV went out and everything. Like our electricity was gone. Our TV got fried. We had to get another TV. And what happened that night was I, that night was more of the evening. I went outside before it got too dark and started filming. I guess it was the precursor to what was then called Fear by Rail. But I only uploaded three videos of it and then just took them down because they were kind of crappy and they were kind of cringy. And then about, I want to say around 2, 3 months later, that's when all the scary shit happened. Every single time I went to this house, like the first time I was there, I had the same nightmare that I saw this. It looked like the kid from the Jungle Book mixed with the girl from The Ring. It was super creepy. And there was this piano in our living room, and the thing was playing it, and then it would just wheel around, just staring at me, and just run toward me. And then I'd wake up, but I didn't actually, wake up in reality. I was still in the dream, but I was stuck. It was like I was in sleep paralysis. And then, like, I'd see this demon thing run toward me, and then I would actually like wake up like in like cold sweat. It was terrifying. And there were like nights I'm like, I don't even want to go to sleep. I'm afraid that it's gonna happen again because I knew it was gonna happen again. It would constantly happen, and it was only at this house that did that. Here at the house I'm at now, it doesn't do that. I just now I have a dream of a tornado gonna hit. Like that's always the same thing. It's a tornado, and it's a weird dream. And there were multiple. This is around the time where I was more self sufficient, and I could support myself. Whenever my parents were out. So when my dad was out and my brother was doing whatever he was doing, but my brother was at his mom's, I would be at home alone, which was no problem. Around the country, we had a BB gun. Somebody breaks in, they see a little kid with a BB gun, they're gonna know something's gonna happen. Um, and I mean, this kid had a mouth on him. He swore way worse than I do. So my swearing has gotten a little bit better. Um, but thankfully, no one had ever broken into any of the houses I was in. And knock on wood. That was me knocking, by the way. Don't worry. Um, where was it? Damn ADHD is getting in the way. So then I was by myself, like completely by myself, and I kept hearing like someone talking while my phone would be turned off, TV would be turned off. There's nothing in our house that would make it sound like someone was talking, but I could hear talking like a male and female. So I'd be searching my house, say, "Hey, who's there? You're not supposed to be here. This is not your house. You need to leave, or I will call the police." And it got to the point where I almost legitimately called the police. That's how clear it was, and it was it was terrifying. I loved that house, but I hate the house at the same time. Because in that house, I had a pretty nice room. I didn't have the amount of trains I have now. I had a lot less. Um, but yeah, but there were times where I would feel my bed start shaking, even though we don't have earthquakes where we are. There's no fault line near us. Um, so or nothing that can cause an earthquake near us. So I don't know what was going on, but I also thought it might have just been me, like waking up, like falling asleep and just like, jolting up, so it would have shaken my bed. Um, but that's life. So um, then around the same time, like I kept like out of the corner of my eye, I would constantly like see stuff, and like this would happen a lot. And so whenever I'm just, chilling, I see like my doorway. Our hallway is dark. Like I would literally like whenever I go down the hallway, I wouldn't even want to look in any of the doors. I'd look down or I'd look straight at my brother's doorway where there's light. And I'll get to why I wouldn't do that after a while. Um so there was actually one time where my light switch got hit by one of my trains and it scared the shit out of me to where I went screaming down the hallway outward. The train didn't get broken. It was a wooden train, and it had fallen on my light switch off my dresser, and it scared the ever living shit out of me. And my dad was like, "What the hell is your problem? What's the matter with you, child?" And I said, "My light switch went off, like freaking the hell out." And then I go back to my room, and there's just a wooden train line on the floor, and I'm like, "Did I knock that off?" And my dad's like, "You probably just accidentally knocked it off. It's fine. Don't worry about it." And so I was more at ease, and like, hey, I probably just knocked it off. It's no big deal. And whenever I was actually at this house when around the time when I got my diagnosis for post-traumatic stress disorder. And of course, at that when you have a mental disorder like PTSD, your mind is constantly racing, like constantly. There's no such thing as silence when you have mental illness. So there were constant like minor things causing me to have triggers at this house. There's nothing I could immediately think of that would cause a trigger, but everything would like shut me off. I don't know what it was. Just it, laying in bed, boom, trigger. It was actually at this house that I had the massive anxiety attack that that went to get that caused me to go get a diagnosis for my issue. I didn't know I had PTSD at the time. I thought I was just overly anxious a lot. And then the doctor's like, "Yeah, you got PTSD." I'm like, "Oh, yay!" Mom's like, "Ah, fuck." So yeah, and I didn't get to treat it for 2 years. So yeah, it kind of festered for a while, but it's fine. It's fine. But around that time there was a lot less, activity, and that was sort of until my dad had gotten in a house, the one we live in now, and I got to choose my room first, which I made the mistake of choosing the room that's on the sunny side of the house. Son of a bitch. Um, and when we first got the house, there was this ugly green carpet, like green. Okay, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that at all. Um, I just heard like somebody like howling, like a. I'm like, the fuck. Okay. I think it might be my PC. I don't know. God, I hope it's my PC and not a picture. But when we got this house, there were a lot of things that just felt uncomfortable, and also it smelled horrid because it had not been entered in like 20 years, and the carpet was just rotten. We have concrete floors right now, so um, and then when we started moving out, not all that much happened, but the day we started moving out, a hailstorm started, and I'm like, what the heck? We had to leave the stuff here. We just had to haul it here to where we are. And it was it was creepy. It was quite ominous, but it was also kind of cool. And I mean, I love that house. I always will. It was an amazing house. The air conditioning it worked so well. It was it was always comfortable at that house. Um, there was one time I got two fans and put them together. I put them face towards each other and put a sheet over the railing of the back of my bed. It's pretty high headboard. It's about from the mattress. It's about maybe 2-3 feet tall, taller than where the mattress stop, or the height of the mattress. So I could put like a sheet over it, and I could like air it up, so it's like a tent type thing. I mean, I would sleep like that, and I'd fall asleep almost immediately. It was amazing, and yeah. I mean, if I could, I would do that again. I mean, I actually, maybe later. I might do that. I mean, I definitely could do something like that. I could just like find a blanket or something and do something like that. I have a weird mind when it comes to interior designing. It's kind of fun. But there was one time I had woken up in the middle of the night while inside of this, which is something I usually never do. I usually never wake up just randomly in the middle of the night. And whenever I looked outside, I could see like the silhouette of a person just standing at the foot of my bed. I'm like, no. I went back to sleep. And it like I saw like the weirdest stuff then, but I don't know if it was just my imagination, my eyes playing tricks on me, or if it was actually real. And the thing about the paranormal, like if you prove that it's real, it's not paranormal anymore. It's not like it's not supernatural. It's just natural. So how do you prove something supernatural? So it's kind of hard to explain. But I mean, I'm doing a pretty good job of it right now. Like this is exactly what happened. So then we moved to the house we're at now, and I have only had maybe a few experiences here, um, but I want to say this was around 2020. Yeah, 'cause it was after my wreck. So this was about 2 or 3 months after my wreck. I'm sitting in the living room trying to, because I was trying to film a video about it, and it caused a panic attack. So I went to go sit out in the living room, just be out of my room for a little bit. And I emailed my counselor, and we set up a meeting about it the next day after this. And that's when we decided, hey, I need to start treatment for this. It's getting out of hand. Can we meet sometime this year and we'll try to work on it? We're like, yeah, it's fine. So we started meeting for that, and then I, got over the issue. And the then after that, I was getting up to go back to my room. I'm like, yeah, I feel a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and go back. And while I was getting up to go to my bedroom, we have a train display case, which I'll try to put a picture in here. Um, it looked like someone had walked from my bedroom to my dad's bedroom. And I'll try to also put a picture of that too. It looked like somebody had walked across the hallway or walked from my door to my dad's door. And all I see is this dark shadows dart from the two rooms to each other. And it was at that moment I went and grabbed my camera out of my room, grabbed my phone, grabbed my headphones. Actually, no. Did I have? Did I grab my? I grabbed something. I don't know if it was my headphones. So I doubt it was my headphones because it was only a few months after my wreck. So it was something. Oh no! I grabbed one of my locomotives because I had this mentality. I'm like, if my shit's gonna get stolen by a ghost, it's not gonna be my locomotive. God damn it! So I ran, grabbed my phone, grabbed my camera, and grabbed my locomotive, and went outside. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna wait for my dad to get home. He'll be home in about 30 minutes. We're gonna wait out here in the heat because I don't want to be in there with the ghost. And I told him about it. He's like, you're probably just seeing things. It's probably just, your head injury, making you see stuff. And I mean, you're probably right. I was on a lot of painkillers at that time. So, and I also had like horrible mental state. So probably, yeah, he was probably right. But, then we have the more recent events. When I got here for this summer, I haven't seen anything since the Shadow, which was in 2020. Now, I have heard like people like talking, but it's not been that big a deal. I'm like, well, all it's doing is talking. And I mean, I have a cross above my door, so I don't think anything evil can get in. So we're gonna hope. I mean, it has to have a Bible, so and a railroad spike soaked in hydrogen peroxide. But I don't know why. I tried to figure out if it would rust or not, or if the rust would do anything or not, but it didn't. So that science experiment went flop. So I'm going into, I think it was my garage. Yeah. Remember what I was grabbing? I should know this. I think it was, oh, I was going to get the rest of my stuff when I found out my trains melted. Yeah, I'm quite upset about that. It was my favorite set too. Um, I hear this like creepy, like witch laugh. It's like, it's some creepy lady just went like hee hee hee. It legit sounded like it's like I'm like the fuck is that? And my dad is asleep in the living room, so I know it's not him. And two, his voice is way too deep to do that. And my brother's in his room, and I know he's watching trains, so I doubt that's what that was. And I can't even hear his TV in my room, so I doubt I'd be able to hear it in the garage, like twice the distance away. So whatever that noise was, I don't know. And then there was another thing, and I just remembered it, and I lost it. What was it? What was it? What was it? Oh, I heard talking. I think it was either this morning or last night, and I nearly shit myself. So yeah. Then earlier today, I was sitting on my computer and I just see my door shut. I just see it shutting. I'm like, okay. And I look at my fan. I'm like, well, probably it's my fan. But I'm looking at it. It's facing toward me, away from my door, and it wasn't speeding up like if it was a fan. Change in like the pressure of the wind from my fan. It was the same speed, just shutting. And it's hard to shut my door with just a fan, like to where it like clicks. But I just hear it click, and I'm like, nope, no, 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 no. I literally go out because I could have sworn that I heard somebody walking away. So I go look at my brother's door. He's still asleep. His light's still off. I'm sure he's still asleep right now. And my brother's a heavy fucking sleeper, so it's hard to wake his ass up. And I go out into the hallway. There's nothing. So I'm like, okay, that's fucking horrifying, but okay. So now I have ghosts back. That's great. I thought I was done with this shit, but clearly I'm not. So there's been a lot of creepy shit going on. I'm not saying that it is or isn't paranormal, but I'm not saying it's not. So yeah, but I mean, if I start seeing shit in my mirror, then yeah, I'm gonna fucking leave. I don't care. I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, yeah. If I ever see anything like messing around in my mirror, I'm gonna freak the fuck out and probably leave. So yeah, that's my scary story time. So yeah, there's been some creepy shit going on in my life. Also, my dog, where my apartment is, um, she keeps on staring at random things and like following something that's not there, and it's really creepy. Because then she'll start barking at it and growling, and I start crying and shitting because I can't see it, but my dog can, and she's growling at it like she's scared of it. So, what do I do in that situation? I am big scared. I probably shouldn't say I'm scared to the thing trying to scare me. It's probably not a good idea. Well, but I mean, none of the I guess things have done harm to me, so I guess I'm doing fine. But I don't know. But yeah, so the interesting stuff that happens to me is usually unexplainable, um, or unexpectable. So yeah, those are my stories. They are 100% accurate as much as I can remember. And yeah, crazy, crazy shit. Now, if some of them do sound like really far fetched, like don't make sense, there's a lot of details I have forgotten since they're like 10 years old. So, like, I've had these stories for a decade. Some details are lost to history. But yeah, there was some crazy, crazy shit. But what's crazy about it is one of the stories that I wrote years ago, I remember pretty damn well. So yeah, it was about a rainstorm. Oh, that's where I'm getting that story from. Okay, never mind. So the screaming lady in the rain was actually one of the stories I wrote. Shit, my bad. See, my stories get so confusing and so like retold that they start becoming a reality. But the rest of that stuff actually has happened. But the one with the rain and the lady screaming, those were stories, which I will actually be talking about in the next episode of The Real Tales of Tragedy. So, yeah. My scary stories. Some of them are real, some of them are fake, some of them are really, really, really in between. And I even lose track. So, yeah. But yeah, so stay tuned for the next episode. It'll probably be coming out sooner than you would expect. It might even come out today. I don't know. But yeah, this is my story of, you know, paranormality in my life. So hope you enjoy it. Have enjoyed it, sorry. And yeah, nice staying with off balance. Like I can see it like carouseling. It's cool. Anyway, fuck, here we go. My medicine is starting to kick in on my ass. So my medication I take for ADHD is also known to be a really, really heavy drowsiness, or it causes a lot of drowsiness for kids. So it does it to me, and I sleep like 5.5 hours straight. So I'm trying to hold it off until like late tonight, so I can stay asleep till like 12, so I can fix my sleep schedule. So I hope you've enjoyed these stories that I have of my terrifying life, and I will see you guys next time.